and welcome to Movie Film Studios, the only podcast that takes you inside the mind of two film studio executives as we unravel and then re-ravel the best that Hollywood has to offer. I'm Isaac.
And I'm AJ, and this week we forget that the school holidays have already ended, significantly ruining the financial success of this, our super family-friendly special. But before we get into something new, it's time for something old as we check in on our last feature in Box Office Report. Or we would, except it's been quite a long time since our last box office release, and there's obviously a good reason for that.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think in terms of the release schedule, you would have seen that the last film, Bite, or the podcast at least about that, only came out recently, but that was recorded several months ago. We have spent months. It's been a while. In election hell. We'll put it that way. Yep. It recently sort of came to light that maybe me being CEO and venture capitalist,
chairman and co-founder,
potentially those roles were maybe, as you put out, a lot to bear for one person, and maybe we should start to try and maybe redistribute the responsibility.
Absolutely, and myself as vice president, co-founder, and primary shareholder of Movie Film Studios really was the one that pushed forward to start redistributing these roles more equally amongst the executive staff here at Movie Film Studios. So basically, we put every single role up for a vote, including co-founder, CEO,
exactly,
chairman, vice president.
I really didn't know what presidential primaries were. I heard them talked a lot about in American elections, but I just thought, and to be honest, I didn't do a lot of research. And as the results showed, it really bit me in the ass.
It really did.
Would you like to list your credentials now?
Yeah, so I am now chairman, I am CEO, president, vice president, co-founder, the other co-founder, and venture capitalist for Movie Film Studios. I retain all the roles, all the executive roles in the company now. Isaac, you are now effectively an intern.
Yeah, I mean, and that is really only by the grace of you that you've granted me that position.
Yes.
Normally, back when I ran things, we wouldn't allow interns to be sitting in the recording booth.
Exactly.
The two co-founders discussed film ideas. Now, obviously, you being those two co-founders.
But it is a new age. It's like when Disney got rid of Jeffrey Katzenberger and put in Bob Iger or whoever is running the company nowadays. Gone is the whole, my way or the highway ruling of Jeffrey Katzenberg. And now we bring in a new era of openness, transparency, and redoing every single film we've got in our back catalogue.
Are we going to re-release like a live-action version of Adventure Children? All right, okay.
So every live-action film we've done, we will now do the 2D animated
2D
version. 2D
hand-drawn animated version.
And vice versa. So I think the 3 2D animated films that we have will now be live-action, but not real live-action, CGI live-action.
And they'll come and go at the movies without anyone really noticing.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, Aladdin apparently came out and went, and I just didn't notice. I think The Lion King's out at the moment.
The kind of films that get 3 stars from The Guardian and say stuff like resplendent but pointless.
It's the school holidays. What else are you going to do?
Exactly. And as I've said, the school holidays have already passed. So we really, we've kind of missed the boat. But I'm going to chalk that up to an intern mistake.
We're treading new ground. I kind of feel as though every studio puts out their family-friendly films around the school holidays, which is really just opens up this wide runway of the rest of the year where studios like us can just, graze freely by putting out our family-friendly films.
I think, kids can see movies on a school night. It's fine,
exactly. And Netflix has really opened up the door for it. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be like taking kids to the movies in the middle of the day like they do during the school holidays.
Exactly.
Netflix is for any time.
Not even Mufuzawudada. Just sit them in front of that.
Exactly.
Hours and hours on end, and all the amazing films that go on there every single day. You'll be set for life. Anyway, let's move on to this week in trailers. And first trailer for you in this family-friendly special is Spies in Disguise, directed by Nick Bruno and Troy Quane, and starring Will Smith, Tom Holland, and Ben Mendelsohn.
Let the beat drop.
La 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 la. Yes, I can take the night.
It worked. subject appears disoriented.
Walter, what did you do?
Pigeons are everywhere and nobody notices them. It's the most perfect form a spy could take.
Unbird me right now. Stop, girl, seriously.
So this is from Blue Sky, I believe?
Blue Sky,
Did
owned by
Rio?
21st Century Fox, which is now owned by Walt Disney Pictures.
Oh, right, okay, great. So it's possibly just another arm of Pixar at this stage.
Apparently, yeah.
The only Blue Sky films I really remember are the Blue Parrot, Rio, and Rio 2.
Yep, I saw the one of the Dr. Seuss ones, the one with the elephant. Horton Hears a Who.
All right, it's Blue Sky
was
as well.
fine.
What about the Lorax? No?
I haven't seen the Lorax, no. But Horton Hears a Who was alright.
There's a certain stage where all these animation studios become very difficult to distinguish.
Yep.
Even though I think Pixar's put out a film, what was that called?
Onward. The one that's coming out, yeah.
Where they look more like DreamWorks style characters.
Yeah, or concepts as well.
And they all kind of look like weirdly stylized humans/animals. This is basically Will Smith is the most debonair and suave secret agent of them all.
Yep.
He can jump into a moving car that's doing a spinning thing as it's driving away from a explosion. He just ducks and dips and dives out of the ways of henchmen trying to punch him and does a
Very
meticulously
fluid.
placed karate chop to the neck. He can jump out of a moving jumbo jet and deploy his squirrel gliding suit and land on the ground and drink his martini with a single olive.
Yep, and then suddenly...
And then there's this massive, really weird twist in the middle of the film where he gets turned into a pigeon. I don't know why. I actually think the film's title is supposed to be a little bit of a pun, as in spies in disguise.
Yeah.
As in spies in the skies. Because he's a bird.
Right, okay.
And
Sure.
It's just so out of left field. You have, voiced by Tom Holland, a Q-style mad scientist who apparently
he's a
has...
kid.
He's a kid. He's 12 years old and has apparently enacted some sort of plan to turn Will Smith into a pigeon because no one notices a pigeon and they're everywhere and they're the perfect spy.
Yep.
I don't know. I genuinely don't know why this film... And also... In the opening bit of the trailer, it sounds like Will Smith is back to doing his like featured rap song for the film, like Men in Black and Wickedy Wickedy Wild Wild West style. It feels strange. He's doing a couple of
odd, but it's a classic
choices.
It's a classic kind of body switch film, I guess, without the actual body switching. It's sort of body morphing.
Transmorphing.
The point is, it's someone's personality in a body that does not suit them, and it is Will Smith, so you know that he's going to be hamming it up all over the place, and yelling at the kid to like, I don't know, what did he used to? Just go watch the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and pretend that Will Smith is in a pigeon for most of those episodes, and you'll get this film.
Actually, now that you mention it, I would really love to see a lot of other films that's Will Smith stars in where he has to do the entire thing as a pigeon. Independence Day, where he and Jeff Goldblum are like trying to upload a virus to the mothership, but they're pigeons.
I was thinking of his more serious films as well, but I don't.
Ali, he's trying to punch someone out as a pigeon. Concussion, where he's a pigeon with a weird Nigerian accent. So,
yep. All right, let's move on from that rubbish to something even more terrible. In The Art of Racing in the Rain, directed by Simon Curtis and starring Milo Ventimiglia and Amanda Seyfried.
No race was ever won in the first corner, but many have been lost there. I should know. I was born to be a race car driver, but there's only one problem. That's not me. That's me. He picked me out of a pile of pups, a tangled mass of paws and tails.
This one. Definitely this one.
The pick of the litter.
She always said that.
Well, just a minute now. We were thinking of keeping them.
He always said that too.
Hey.
Call it fate, call it luck. All I knew was I was meant to be his dog.
You like that, huh?
Like it. I loved it.
So we've got, from the producers of Marley and Me. So Marley and Me being a romantic, I don't want to say comedy, but a romance film with a cute little puppy dog as a kind of central element to the film. Here we have Milo Ventimiglia playing a race car driver of some kind who adopts a puppy, and this puppy, voiced by Kevin Costner, talks about how he himself is a massive fan of racing.
The opening shot of this trailer is gruff Kevin Costner's voice going, "I was born to be a race car driver."
Yeah.
And you see Milo Ventimiglia driving in with these Formula One style cars and comes up as a winner. It's like, yeah, but that's not me. And then it pans across to like a puppy being held on the sideline. That's me. I'm that cute little puppy dog. I'm not the race car driver. That's a twist. And then it's a like a life journey kind of thing. It's Milo getting a puppy, going through his career as a racer, falling in love with Amanda Seyfried, having kids, learning the art of driving in the rain. Is it? I can't even remember what it's called.
It's something like that. Like, and the weird thing is, you watch this trailer, and if you take the dog out of the trailer, the film's exactly the same. Well, it's still about the life of Milo and his wife Amanda, who, you know, are successful and have their travails and have kids and so on and so forth. And really the dog is just there kind of narrating everything. Like, he doesn't seem to play a massive part in any of the film.
I feel as though he's only there to tug on the heartstrings, and I'm sure he probably dies of old age at the end.
No, he won't. It's a Walt Disney film.
Oh, it is Disney too.
It's another Disney film.
Owned by Disney.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's literally like a 20th Century Fox film. So now it is a Disney film.
It feels like it's trying to be so unoffensive that I feel like it is offensive. I'm offended by how sickly sweet and unoffensive it's trying to be.
It's just ridiculous. Like,
it's the happy shots. It's the I don't know. I get teared up when animals die in films. It's the only thing that like makes me upset. But I kind of feel as though if there's a car crash and both Milo and the dog die, like smashed against a tree, I don't think I could care.
I can't imagine that this will be that film.
It won't be, but that's the thing, that no one, that you know, this film is so sickly sweet and family friendly that they're not going to take that risk. They're not going to. I think Milo, his most recent role is on This Is Us, like an ABC family TV show where he plays a dad from the 70s who it then turns out has died, and it's like two stories of like him and Mandy Moore as a young married couple struggling to get by with these three babies, and then it cuts to the future and it's those three kids all grown up, and you're trying to go, how did the dad die, and like, so he's already gone from a sickly sweet family friendly emotional roller coaster to like, I mean, he's being typecast now. I mean, I would much rather have him being stayed as the typecast superhero. I don't know, wasn't he also in like some sort of Fast and Furious type film? No, like Need for Speed?
No.
Wasn't it like, I think Fast and Furious is like, I'm not going to say A grade because it's not A grade.
No.
But then like B grade would have been Need for Speed. I'm fairly sure there was like
a C grade, something under that.
A car robbery bank heist.
That's a great name for a film.
Car robbery bank heist, starring, as you would expect, Milo Ventimiglia.
Let's go with that. This is kind of like the Gilmore Girls without any of the Gilmore Girls edge or wit. So if you like Milo in that, maybe you'll
like... Was he in that one?
He was in Gilmore Girls,
Was Chris Pratt in Gilmore Girls?
No, he wasn't. Not that I'm aware of, anyway. All right, on to the final film for this week's special, which is Playing with Fire, directed by Andy Fickman and starring John Cena, Keegan-Michael Key, and John Leguizamo.
Gentlemen, we are Smoke Jumpers, the most elite team of firefighters in the world. We must be at our very best. Every second of every day. Give me a line. We do what I say, and we do it now.
He said no! We're a go for extraction.
No, wait, what?
Ooh.
So we've got it's kind of like, it's a family live action comedy, which we haven't had for a little while, but...
It's true, but it doesn't start out that way. And like, obviously we've spoiled it now saying it's a family friendly film, but the trailer starts out as if it's going to be a high octane, high intensity, we're smoke jumpers, we jump into the forest fires, I imagine they call them in America, and we are the tough guys with the helicopters, and we rescued some quaint little family, and now we've got the kids who don't have parents are stuck in the fire station and we've got to take care of them. But I'm a big muscly John Cena. How am I supposed to be a father figure to these cute little kids?
Well, it's even like, we're all incompetent firefighters who, while we can put out fires, we definitely can't raise these three kids. How dare they? And then there's all the shenanigans that they get up to while they are temporarily living in the firehouse. I don't understand what the premise of this is. It's something along the lines of like, John Cena's like, okay, your parents are missing, therefore we're legally obligated to look after you indefinitely until your parents turn up. And like, I'm pretty sure that's not how it works. Any of that works.
But these Hollywood bigwigs who don't care about the actual child system.
Where's the accuracy here?
There's a lot of really goofy pratfall kind of things in here as well, where they've done wire stunts to throw people against walls. They have a kid who's on the end of a fire hose being thrown around the office. It feels very Nickelodeon in a way where if a actual proper film studio got their hands on this, they might actually take it slightly more seriously. But what did Nickelodeon did? The Dora the Explorer film, I think, was one we watched
the
quite
live action,
recently. Where it just kind of feels a bit too colourful, a bit too like it's not taking itself seriously. Like it's quite happy to put in fart sounds and poopy noises and stuff like that, and little slide whistles as like things go weird.
I feel like maybe I'm being a bit elitist here when I say stuff like this, but I feel like these kind of films are very insulting to the intelligence of children.
Yeah.
Because one of the big gags in this film, and I really feel for Keegan-Michael Key, who we, tried to cast in something reputable a while back, but clearly hasn't worked, where, like, the little girl in this film says that, she's got to go boom boom, and then John Cena's just like, what's boom boom? Like, I don't know what that means. And then she poops.
She poops her pants?
She poops her pants, and then they're, like, gagging on the smell. I'm just like...
But you also see he's trying to improvise with John Cena. He's trying to, like, match John Cena in the scene, and he's getting nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no escalation. There's no playing off one another. And he's just like, okay, are we just going to pretend like it smells horrible?
Yeah.
This bit isn't actually... I'm not actually acting with proper comedians. I'm acting with ex-wrestlers who kind of look like demented, like someone put an engorgement charm on a ventriloquist doll.
And it went wrong.
Like, his hair.
He looks weird,
He looks very weird. He kind of dresses... I don't know if you've seen him in interviews where he wears like these three-piece suits and he has this really neat part. He kind of looks all right.
Yeah.
But then when he still has that hair that has that weird part to the side and he's in this fireman's outfit.
Yeah.
He looks much more like he doesn't look like a natural person. He looks like someone who's gone on the roids for too long, and even his jaw muscles have got their own biceps.
No, I feel like he was on the roids because he was trying to develop certain parts of his body that just wouldn't develop, so the rest of his body kept developing.
Yeah.
And the other parts just didn't. So,
he's just misproportioned.
Yeah.
He looked much better with the military style crew cut.
Yeah.
And when he was trying to be I'm a scary action figure rather than, hey, I'm just a lovable guy with a big heart and big muscles.
Yeah, exactly. Like this, I think we've talked about this before about how John Cena sort of wants to be the new Rock. And the problem with that is that The Rock still exists and he's still doing that job.
And Dave Bautista's also trying to do that as well. They're coming for you, Rock.
They are. Yeah, but I just think that John Cena is in a distant third in that stake. Like,
I don't know.
I don't think he can get anywhere close. Like, this is not his Kindergarten Cop. This is not his, like, it's not his, what was the Rock one called? Tooth Fairy. Like, but you know what I mean? Like, it's just not, I can't see John Cena. Actually, he was in an animated film, never mind, but not a Disney film.
It was Ferdinand the Bull, I believe. John Cena was in there.
Yeah.
I suppose Vin Diesel also had the pacifier.
It's true, yeah.
There's these big muscly guys
weird,
who apparently always go off and do these family-friendly kids films, and I suppose if John Cena wants to follow in the footsteps laid down by Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone, and what was the family-friendly one that Jean-Claude Van Damme did? I don't know if he...
Did he actually
I don't know. I don't know if he
Surely
did.
Not.
He probably did.
So I know Sylvester Stallone rather did...
Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
Exactly.
Yep. I think we have discussed that before.
My Mum is a Car or something? My Mother the Car? No, that wasn't his, was it? That is a show. It is not. I'm not making this up. Go and research this, intern, but it is a show.
All right.
Anyway.
Is this what I have to do now? If you can't just call the Academy.
I don't need the Academy anymore.
Just research it, intern. Okay, fine.
We got booted out of the Academy a while back.
I'll have the report on your desk in the morning, sir.
Great. All right, those are the 3 trailers for this week's special. But of course, before we can do anything with those, we're going to have to take a little walk over to the green room. All right, let's have a quick recap of the films for this week's episode. First of all, we have
a kids animated spy action pigeon film.
Body swap,
animated animal spy film.
Will Smith, Tom Holland. Then we have
a sickly sweet animal interacting with the journey of a family.
Yes, with a human voiceover for the animal. I think that's the important
I suppose
part.
it's kind of weird. They don't always do that, but I didn't. Disgraced actor from House of Cards, Kevin Spacey, do like some weird cat film where
he did, and it was directed by Barry Sonnenfeld, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so if we go down that path, it's going to have to be like elder statesman type person doing weird voice, but that's fine.
Yep. And finally, we have
a big muscly action star tries to do a family-friendly taking care of kids.
Yes, with people who are genuinely comedically talented.
Sure.
I don't remember who picked in the last session, so I think I'll just pick instead.
All right, okay. I have no power to overrule that at all.
No, you do not. Not until the next board meeting,
all right.
Which I will schedule in at a point to be determined.
2021.
Look, when I first saw it, I thought, this is a thing that has to happen, and we are definitely doing the art of racing in the rain.
I think out of all of them, it feels like the
most ripe for adaptation, perhaps.
The one where a studio such as ours would look at that and go, hey, we could do a film like that. That's not too hard. We can get a couple of actors who haven't been in anything for a while and a cute animal and get someone who, you know, we pay quite a bit of money but really only spends about 2 days in the voice studio recording it while all the other people actually have to be on set shooting it live action.
Now, to me, the crux of this film is taking a very ordinary story with very little in the way of like situations or circumstances that really need to be put into cinema or onto film and adding an animal to it.
Yeah. So this is very much a guy meets girl, they get married, they have a kid.
Yeah. They have, various little complications, but nothing that's like, we need to write a film about this.
One of the people involved has a somewhat interesting job of racing cars.
Yeah.
And it is also a very generic like golden Labrador.
Yeah.
It's not an interesting animal, or I think that's where our distinction is going to be. We will choose an animal of some note, something that you haven't seen in films.
Yeah, it's going to be
since,
tough.
You know, Matt LeBlanc had to take care of an orangutan who was a pitcher for a minor league baseball team.
There was also that film we did about Salvador Dali a while back where we had the capuchin monkey.
It wasn't a capuchin, it was a golden tamarin or a bearded tamarin, a bearded marmoset.
So it's like this crazy kind of monkey-esque thing with a mustache.
We've worked with animals before. We know what we're doing.
Yeah, that's right. We've worked with very exotic animals too, so we can definitely pull something from that.
So we need an animal and an unusual job, I think, is a fundamental there. Where,
but we also need a job that's kind of, from a kid's perspective, it's kind of one of those jobs that, like, when you ask kids when they're about 5 years old what they want to do, it's definitely one of the jobs.
Is it astronaut then?
Yeah, it's definitely astronaut.
Because I think we also watched a trailer for, is it Ad Astra?
Ad Astra,
the Brad Pitt film, which I don't think we're going to talk about.
No.
We may talk about it in the future, but it's a weird space sort of thing.
To be topical as well, I believe today or earlier this morning, India just sent a rocket to the moon.
There you go. A rocket to the moon,
rocket to the moon, yeah. They just threw it up there. I don't know what they're going to do with it, but it's going to the moon. So, you know, space is definitely in vogue at the moment. I believe, you know, various people trying to get to Mars. NASA is thinking about going back to the moon and so on and so forth.
Really?
So, yeah. I think we do that. We make the story about an astronaut.
Yep.
And then through a wacky set of circumstances, they come across this animal.
It's not too wacky. I mean, it's not playing with fire levels of wacky. Whether the fire station is filling up with soap suds.
Yeah.
But it's definitely like it's not. It's heartwarming.
I think it is heartwarming, and what I want it to be is. So I believe that most of the American space shuttle launches and rocket launches happen in Florida. Various areas of Florida.
I think I can see where this is going.
I'm not sure you can, because I haven't determined what animal it is yet.
All right, but I thought you were going with a gator because it's in Florida.
I did think of gator, but there's also turtles.
There's turtles?
Turtles might be nice. But I think that, like, given that these rocket launches are sort of on the fringes of swampland, I would say that this astronaut, while out on a sort of training run one day early in the morning, comes across an injured animal.
I like tortoise. I think
Yeah.
that sort of really slow. Also, I think there's a nice symmetry between the dome of the tortoise's shell and that glass dome astronaut's helmet.
Yep.
I like it sort of floating around in space.
Yep.
Because like it's also quite slow moving, and as it's sort of like there's a nice symmetry
and
there.
we'll make it so that we'll do rather than the sort of new style of capsules on top of rockets that they tend to go with these days. I want to go for the classic space shuttle program, like Endeavour and not Columbia, but anyway, just where like you have a bunch of rockets and then strapped to the side of it is a like standalone standalone enclosure or shuttle for the astronauts.
Yeah.
And I like the idea that shuttle is kind of turtle shaped as well.
Okay, yep, sure.
So that you have the metaphor of being protected by the turtle shell of the spaceship.
Well, that's interesting as well, because when you're in space, the only thing that's protecting you is like this thin layer of material between you and the vacuum of space.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same thing with
you're tucked inside your little helmet in the same way that I see. Turtle's perfect.
It is perfect.
It is absolutely perfect. So it's an astronaut. They were out on a morning jog around the launch site, because that's what astronauts do, right? They just live on the launch site, just waiting for the clock to go down before they can get into the shuttle. And they happen across like an injured turtle. And I think we can put very, very subtle commentary about how the rush to try and go into space has caused these habitats to get messed around, and that's why the turtle's sort of out in a place where it's not meant to be. But this is a Disney-esque film, so it's only ever going to be incredibly subtle.
We're not trying to be political. We're not trying to say anything. If anything, it's just like, no, people are alive and they live their lives, and these are some of the things that happened in their lives.
Things happen, just like normal everyday people. So this astronaut, discovers this turtle, it's injured, and decides to nurse it back to health while still going through the training. So I think there's going to be some fun sequences where, like, the astronaut gets strapped into that, that chair that does the
spinning, the G's,
the G's simulator, or
it
whatever
does the
it is.
G's,
and it does the G's, and the turtle's in there too, because the astronaut's trying to look after it. And what better way to look after a turtle than to strap it to a G simulator?
So I see, in my head, I'm still doing some really wacky CG with the turtle, but I think all practical effects.
Yeah, it's a real turtle.
Real turtle. Yeah. And,
well, when we can't use a real turtle, it's just like a...
Jim Henson will help us out, I think, with some hyper-realistic puppet, articulated
exactly.
puppet.
We'll have a puppet.
Yeah, the way that a turtle moves means that, like, you can probably not even have an animatronic and just have, like, a solid cast painted turtle, and like, no one would tell the difference.
Turtles can't move half the time anyway.
Exactly.
But how cute's it going to be when we strap it into its own little spacesuit?
Yeah, that's
it's going to be a little turtle.
It'll be
like
turtle.
A tiny little turtle.
A bit bigger than... Like, what are we looking at? Like a... not bowling ball size, a bit smaller than that.
I reckon small enough so that... Here's how I want it to happen, how I want it to go. Halfway through the film, the astronaut decides that they're going to take the turtle with them into space, but not tell anyone.
Oh, absolutely.
And the way that they do it is they sneak the turtle like on top of their head while their helmet is on.
Oh, right. It is that. It is that. The turtle is the exact size of the tiny little cavity at the top of an astronaut's spacesuit.
Yep. But this is what happens, because it is a Disney-esque film after all. The launch gets scrubbed because the weight differential's all off. They're like, what's going on? You weigh more than what you're meant to weigh for this mission, and it will throw off everything. The center of gravity is wrong. All the like G-men at ground control, who won't be smoking because it's not 1969 anymore, but
or is it?
Well, I don't know. Could it be? Is it no? You know what?
It doesn't.
The art of
feel like
the art of racing in the rain is the kind of film where you have no idea what year it's meant to be, because
exactly.
it's just kind of like
it could be anywhere from 1960 to 2020.
The entire film is sort of shrouded in perpetual sun, like a sunset.
It's
got this
soft focus,
orangey glow.
The fashion, the cars, they're all like completely ambiguous.
Yep.
It's two white people, so you know it can't, it could be any point in
history.
Exactly.
So I think we'll do it for this film, where the space shuttle designs are kind of a weird mixture of old and new. The technology is a mix of old and new. So we won't have the G-men smoking, but maybe, I don't know, one of them will be vaping in a corner or something. In any way, so they like scrub the mission. They haul the astronaut into a tribunal. The astronaut's still wearing their spacesuit, of course, because they're like taken straight off the shuttle into the tribunal, and then they're just like, what's going on? What have you done? This is not correct. And then they sort of just okay, I'm going to come clean, unclips their helmet, pulls the helmet off, and there's a little turtle on top of their head.
I kind of thought a lot of this film would be set in space, and they're looking...
Oh, no, it will be. Yeah.
I reckon most of the film is trying to get to space, and we
Oh, yeah.
end the film when the ultimate goal is breaching the Earth's atmosphere to
Yes.
feel zero gravity.
Yep.
And then we have like, you know, Elton John's Rocket Man or David Bowie's Space Oddity or any one of those, you know.
It's definitely Space Oddity.
Yeah. When they're sort of like they hit zero gravity, and then both of them, the turtle
Yeah.
and the main protagonist, like release their clips and start floating. Like, this is it. This is what the entire
Yeah,
film we've
yeah.
worked up to this point.
I love it.
And then that's
Oh, I've got even more to sort of push forward in this whole idea, and to make the whole payoff of them being in space have more resonance. So because the turtle's going to be voiced by a human actor to be determined.
I'm pretty sure I know who it is. but
Okay,
that's fine.
great. We'll reveal that later. I think that the whole desire for the turtle to be in space is because gravity has always worked against its favor on Earth.
Oh, exactly.
You know, when like turtles flip over, it's an effort for them to like flip back up onto their legs. But in gravity, in zero G, not a problem. It's the perfect habitat for a turtle. Gravity can't get it anymore.
Exactly.
So it's been this lifelong dream for this turtle to get into space so it can feel what it's like to be unburdened by the shackles of gravity. So yeah, when you finally see that turtle fly off upside down and float away in zero G, it's that very poignant moment when you realize that all of its dreams have come true.
Yeah, they're no longer shackled by the bounds of gravity. It is a sense of freedom, a sense of relief.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that will be the preamble for this film will be about how this turtle is desperate to become an astronaut. This turtle's desperate to get into space to feel what it's like.
It's spent its entire life sitting off the side of Cape Canaveral or Cape Kennedy or whatever.
Everyone puts it down. The various other animals that live around Florida, all the other humans that don't care about animals. Gravity itself has put it itself. So now it can, it wants to go into space to prove everyone wrong and to overcome its own, I guess, inability to do certain things.
So in a lot of these films, the animal is like the bystander as characters' lives develop. So we have the astronaut. Is there a love interest for the astronaut? Is there a family?
Yeah. There's all it's one of those like little things. I'm not sure what NASA's policy is on pregnant astronauts, but is it kind of like
probably okay.
Again, like I kind of want to bring in the whole turtle analogy for like a mother who's about to give birth, sort of protecting something inside of her and so on and so forth. So maybe that's the sort of before she becomes an astronaut, she has, a child. So she has a small family.
All right.
She's always away from home because she's training to become an astronaut. So the home life is a little bit up and down.
Yeah.
And again, maybe it's the turtle that sews it all together for them. The turtle that brings the family back together.
There's definitely the conflict of like, you just want to go in space and abandon the family, and the astronaut's just like, you don't understand. It's like a lifelong dream.
Yeah.
And it creates tension, and we have that sort of second act drama as it's all going to sort of break apart and all come to the conclusion, and then we finish it off when they actually get into space. For some reason, and we can't cast her because we cast her in a lot of stuff, but like I really want Brie Larson,
Brie Larson,
because of Captain Marvel. But I think we've cast her recently, and I think with Milo especially, he's definitely not coming from A-list big budget Marvel type films.
You've got to go for the slightly lesser.
Who's coming from that sort of? I mean, we could just steal from This Is Us and put Mandy Moore in there. Mandy Moore in the role.
Let's put Mandy Moore in there because I haven't seen her for a while.
A long time.
The last time I remember seeing her was in Scrubs, in like early 2000s or something. So I'm happy to bring her back.
And also, I think I mentioned, normally this animal's voiced by an elder statesman.
Yep.
But if there's anything that several of the other animated film trailers we watched this week told us is that Tom Holland is just the darling right now of voicing. And he has a very charming English accent in real life, but for whatever reason in the Pixar film and also the Spies in the Skies, they get him to do his American accent.
Yeah.
I just don't know why. Like,
to me, it makes no sense because I think part of Tom Holland doing that accent is to sound like an ordinary American boy, like an ordinary American kid. So effectively, when you cast him in a voice role, all you're getting is ordinary American kid, which any other actor could have played.
Exactly.
Like I don't really understand why that's the case. But hey, you know what? Let's get Tom Holland.
And see if we can get him out of his New York accent
Yeah.
and more into a Florida accent, whatever that happens.
We need to
be.
give him like a little bit more of a southern drawl, like a.
Florida doesn't really have that sort of southern.
Oh, they've got
a little.
They've got a little bit of a.
Well, whatever he decides,
whatever
he decides is good for that sort of area.
Just not your bloody Spider-Man accent.
No.
Just give us something new. Give it a little bit of a. Age it up a little bit as well. You are a turtle.
Yep.
Turtle has a bit of wisdom. Maybe this turtle. How old is this turtle?
I mean, turtles live to like 200 or 300 years old. I don't know.
Depends on the turtle. It's not Florida turtles.
No, they do. And it's also a tortoise, I believe, because the turtle has flippers for feet, and the tortoise has little stubby legs.
That's a tortoise.
I mean, even if it is like a 60-year-old tortoise, that's like could be just past adolescence.
Yeah, exactly. Like 60 years in turtle years or tortoise years is quite young. So
and we can actually do a really nice montage at the start where it's watching the 1969 rockets launch, the moon landing.
Yeah.
And so like you actually see the life of this turtle as it's like dreaming and watching the technology of the rockets change, dreaming of one day being up there and eventually sort of finding its chance through
I think what
space
happened
astronaut
is
Mandy Moore.
it hatches. It hatches out of its egg, and just as it hatches, Apollo 11 is lifting off from the ground.
Yeah.
So, I think like it hatches and there's a whole bunch of rumbling going on, and it seems very chaotic. And it's because as soon as that tortoise hatches, the Apollo 11 rocket takes off.
Well, I mean, we could even do it earlier. You could do it like Apollo 7, and as it's aging, I was going to say the rings of a tree.
I think
whatever. I mean, it doesn't really matter. There's definitely spent its life living in the shadow of the NASA space missions.
Yeah, I think if you think of like there's Apollo 11 and all the other Apollo missions that followed it, the Apollo 13, all the space shuttle missions in the 90s and the 2000s, I think it's just been perpetually watching.
Yeah.
And now because NASA hasn't done a lot in the terms of space travel in the last decade and maybe a bit more, it's sort of thinking now that they've announced that they're doing a new moon trip.
Yeah, this is its chance.
This is its chance. And yeah, maybe that's how it gets into the accident. So it's sort of trying to head to Cape Canaveral for a rocket launch, gets hit by a car or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
gets hit by a space moon buggy while they were doing a test drive of it.
You know it is. It's got a cracked shell. And
Yep.
the cracked shell is like shown later on when there's a cracked space. Like there's so much.
It's even better. You know what? The astronaut rescues the tortoise. So Mandy Moore rescues the tortoise, uses NASA space technology, helmet technology, to repair the tortoise shell. So the tortoise is now part helmet. So the little
it's got a like fiberglass welding through the crack in its shell.
And the welding has a little like she's cut it off an existing helmet, so the end of NASA.
Oh right, that was swooshy,
there,
and then that swooshy space logo. Okay, that's kind of cool.
So then the tortoise rather is now. I guess it's now NASA property.
It's property of NASA. All right, so we've got the voice for the turtle.
Yep.
We've got the lead
astronaut. Yep.
Astronaut. We don't really care who the husband is.
It could be anyone.
It could be
husband, wife, doesn't matter.
Whatever.
Cast whoever you want. Whoever's in the dregs of TV world at the moment.
Yeah.
Or who hasn't been on TV for. In fact, you know what? It's one of the people that was prominent on TV. But did not really make the jump to the streaming TV stuff where it's really taken off. I'm thinking of like...
is it Zach Braff then?
Yeah, you know what? It is Zach Braff.
All right, okay. So
it's Zach Braff, who's now teaming up with his former partner in Mandy Moore for this space film. All right, I like it. So, and then as some kid actors, I guess we'll find from somewhere. Look, doesn't matter.
Still the ones from
dime a dozen.
Playing with fire if we really want to.
Sure, why not? All right, great. So I think that's it. I think the only thing we need to do now is the most difficult part of our jobs, which is coming up with a title for this film.
Well, I mean, they didn't put a lot of effort into the art of driving in the rain. It doesn't really capture.
Yeah.
Its puppy race driver. Like, what's Marley and Me? What are the other ones?
What's the name of our tortoise as well. Did
Oh, we
come
need
with
to
a
name. Do we need to name the tortoise?
I think so.
The only name for a tortoise I can remember is the Roald Dahl book Ezio Trot, which when it was revealed to me that's just tortoise spelled backwards. I'm like, you got me, Roald Dahl, with your whimsical, magical adventures.
You know what the tortoise is called? Buzz.
Buzz.
Yeah. After Aldrin, after...
and Lightyear. We
Exactly.
could call him Michael Collins, the one person no one remembers from the Apollo
got
11.
left behind.
Someone had to pilot the spaceship as it orbited while Neil and Buzz...
So we can call him Colin. Colin.
Yeah.
So the person that got left in the shell of the space capsule.
Oh, so much, meaning in every decision we make.
Exactly. Metaphors, similes, all that stuff. Okay, yeah, so it's Colin the tortoise, named after the Apollo 11 astronaut of the same name. So the name of this film, we're dealing with space travel, we're dealing with a tortoise, we're dealing with a tortoise with a broken shell. So there's a... kind of like a space disaster thing going there. And it's also like a feel-good, family-friendly... Not quite comedy. It's definitely not a comedy.
No, it's not. It's way too sickly sweet to be a comedy.
Exactly, yeah. What do you call those kind of films? No. Not comedy. It's not a drama either.
No. It is genuinely just a family film.
Family film, yeah.
Family-friendly family film.
Yeah.
Because even like things like Leaving Gravity, which is like it's too
actiony.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It needs to have like a
How about just Colin in space? It's actually really hard to pronounce.
Colin's Big Space Adventure. So I definitely think we need to take the really long and needlessly flowery thing.
Yep.
It needs to be like kind of goofy and inspirational.
Yep. All right, I've got it.
All right, okay.
You ready for this? On the Edge of the Stars.
That is so bad that it's perfect. It's just it encapsulates everything that's wrong with these kind of films. That it says it almost means something, but it actually means nothing.
Not a thing, and technically incorrect as well because you're nowhere near the stars. Anyway,
all right, on the edge of the stars.
Yeah, on the edge of the stars, and then the poster will just be, Mandy Moore holding her space helmet, looking up at the stars, and then the turtle will be on top of the helmet.
Oh, I thought she was going to be holding it as if it was a space helmet, but it is just the turtle. And
No, I think the turtle has to be small enough to fit under her helmet.
Okay.
I think like she's holding the helmet, and then on top of the helmet is the turtle also looking up at the stars.
They're both sort of gazing to the top left as if to look into the stars. But they both, even though one's a tortoise and one's a female astronaut, they've both and maybe we Photoshop in reflections of the stars into their eyes.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. And there's probably an American flag flapping in the background somewhere.
Oh, there 100% is. And we'll try and get backing from NASA to use all their graphics, but I'm sure they lend that out pretty willy-nilly.
Yeah, we've done another. They lend us the graphics for that.
They did too. Yeah, we did some. We did that NASA film ages ago.
Yeah,
the film that's actually decent.
Hey! As an intern working and striving to better this company, I refuse to hear any negative thoughts or opinions about the back catalogue of movie film studios.
And that's the kind of moxie I like to hear from my interns. You are promoted.
Can I be co-creater again?
Yes, you may.
All right, co-founder.
I will give up one of my co-creator credits.
Okay,
and you
great.
can have one of them.
I'm getting them back slowly.
And I think that's a wrap. Housekeeping, as per usual, we are online at moviefilmstudios.net, where you can find every single episode we've produced for the podcast, our bios, and the list of films that we've created on this podcast.
You're going to have to update those bios
to
more accurately reflect the roles that you're undertaking.
I'm going to have to reverse the positions of of us as well, because I think you come first at the moment, and that's just not on. I will not have an intern / co-founder above me.
Intern / co-founder.
We are on various social media platforms. Twitter, we are at Movie Film Studio. We are on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We post little animated snippets of the podcast on those platforms as well. Soon, having a bit of a HD upgrade at the moment. They will be featuring...
as part of the revamped, reordered, restructured company, the animations are getting an upgrade as well.
That's right. They're going to be in glorious Technicolor. very, very soon, as soon as I finish drawing all the damn art for it. What else?
We'll be performing as part of It's Sandpit.
Yes, we will.
In
2 weeks' time, but it's more than likely possible that you won't be able to attend unless you're an alumni of that school. So
that's right. If you've attended any Improv Theatre Sydney classes and you'd like to come along and see us perform, that's on
Wednesday, August 7th
at the It's Theatre in Redfern.
Theatre in Redfern, that's the one, next to the FBI FBI radio station headquarters.
If you're an alumni of It's, you probably know where it is.
If you have a particular animal in your life that is severely lacking in something to listen to, how about you direct them to our podcast? We can be found on iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, YouTube, and pretty much any other place that you get podcasts from. And our website as well. They're all there waiting for you. And I think that's it.
All that remains is to thank you once again for listening. I've been Isaac.
And I've been AJ.
Roll credits.
Watch